Hey, and thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. This is September 2022. Going to give you a quick update, go through some of the vendors that I'm involved with, give you an idea of what the supply lines are like, and some options that you might be looking at to try and put those towards the end, so that I don't muddle up each supplier as we go through. Also at the end, you'll see we've got running a competition for the month of September. So if you want to win some Amazon vouchers or some hardware, then do follow that. It's great to have you on board. So the supply chain is pretty hammered. We knew that this end of the first or the half of the year and moving into the last quarters was going to really hit us hard. We're seeing a lot of that in the PoE switches and general switches altogether. So let me just run through all of our suppliers that I'm aware of as quickly as possible for you and give you a rough update. Ubiquiti are pretty trashed. Cameras, switches, that's probably the starting point. It is possible to get a number of things like the G4 bullets. You just have to order ahead. Also, things like the AC Pro, a whole load of those just landed fairly recently in Australia. We're seeing a better supply line of the new wireless 6. So we've got the U6 Lite, U6 LR and U6 Pro, a lot more in general supply now. We've got the U6 Enterprise hitting Australia at the beginning of October. U6 Mesh is probably your one for your outside. There isn't really anything to replace the AC Mesh with the two rabbit ears on it at this moment in time, and I'm not sure if we're going to see any more wireless 5 access points for a bit. When it comes to switches, really there's only the Pro 24 and Pro 48 that tend to be around at this moment in time. There's certainly none of the smaller switches, unless you go down to say like the Flex Mini, but again that hasn't got PoE out, so you're pretty stuck there. Do watch till a little bit later on, there's a few other alternatives that we talk through. So that's really where Ubiquiti is, pretty harsh. I think we're going to see a little bit more supply as we hit closer to Christmas, but let's wait and see what happens. TP-Link Armada, that's the next product range that we tend to hit most of. TP-Link Armada, again, a fairly good consistent supply. They do have a wider range of switches and access points to choose from. On the Wi-Fi 5, they've got an equivalent of the Ubiquiti AC Mesh. And as you know, the controller is pretty much identical to the Ubiquiti one. So it could be an alternative for you to have a look at, but supplies moving on fairly well for those. Let's have a talk about other wireless vendors, say like Meraki. Meraki is still at 100+ days for many of their access points and routers. So if you're interested in Meraki, then please do know that the wait is going to be pretty substantial, or maybe hunt around for some alternatives. Then we have something like Ruji. These are fairly new to the market here in Australia. They are one of the top 5 by number wireless manufacturers in the world, and sit pretty well in the Gartner quadrant for niche market play. They've got a whole control panel online. It's done by a mobile app and a web interface. It looks very much feel of like the Meraki dashboard. You don't need a controller, a license for it. It's all done for free, and it is super simple to provision. So if you're looking for another alternative, these are readily available here in Australia. Great point-to-point options in there as well. So Ruji could be worthwhile having a look. I'll leave the links in the bottom of this YouTube video. So if you're looking at other wireless options, you could be maybe looking at WatchGuard. Generally WatchGuard, for their firewall appliances, we're seeing pretty good supply. Certainly T20, T40 and T80, pretty good actual stock. If you're looking for the wireless model, pretty much, well, it comes and goes. Before I hit that one on the head, it does come and go. If you're looking for the rack mounts, again, most of those are special order, but only around about 14 days. WatchGuard have really weathered the storm well, and like I'd mentioned before, they have an enterprise grade wireless 6 solution. The software is not quite there yet, but it does do all the functionality, and they have a pretty good supply chain for that currently. So if you're looking for an enterprise solution to maybe replace Meraki or a Ruckus solution, then certainly it could be worthwhile looking at WatchGuard. Then we've got things like SonetWall. SonetWall pretty consistent, 2 weeks or so turnaround time. Again, a little bit more time potentially on the wireless models, but pretty solid. You're not going to get probably ease for their switches, and they've just released a wireless 6 access point, but I'm not really sure what the stock is going to be like for that. I think they will struggle initially, but if you're looking at the firewall side of things, it should be pretty good for you. What else do we have? Sophos. All right, Sophos, the lower end, so if you look at like the XGS 87, that's pretty horrific at the moment. I think that's 2 or 3 months lead time on those. The odd one pops up, but do get in early. XGS 107, sometimes there could be a few wireless, sometimes there could be a few non-wireless. Not great supply on that. As we move up a little bit further, those ones are getting quicker. So as we move into the larger units, they may be only a 2 or 3 week wait, or potentially in stock at this time. They are struggling a little bit more. Like they do have a number of their wireless access points still in good volume. So there is a solution if you're looking for wireless with your firewall. Switches, the Sophos switches always hit at a point where maybe it wasn't going to be a full-on supply. So I would say again with Sophos, do allow a little bit of time. Fortinet, 40Fs, 60Fs, a little bit in the 80 series and the 100, generally flowing pretty well. Obviously buy them buy them separate, so you're going to buy the hardware and then you're going to buy the subscription to go with it. There are a few random wireless access points that they do that are good supply. Most of them are pretty trashed though, so do talk to us if you are looking for a solution there. Don't go after the wireless model again for the actual firewall appliance. It will give you a long wait. It's better to get a separate access point, even if you have to use it from a different vendor for a period of time. So that brings us all the way up through Fortinet. Aruba Instant On, another popular one. Again, struggle in those PoE switches. There are around, I was just checking before I recorded this video, there certainly are some non-PoEs around. There's certainly the wireless 5 access points around in pretty good numbers, and the wireless 6 access points like the AP22 come in and out a little bit. So still not a bad supply line for Aruba Instant On, and certainly something again that's worthwhile looking at if you're looking for a solution that's a little bit more enterprisey or prosumer, if we use that word, a professional consumer. Then maybe it would be a step up from a Ubiquiti item, but could give you an alternative. It's a free centrally managed solution, easy to set up. It has routing built into the access points. The switches can do VLANs and DHCP and a whole load of cool stuff, because it all is basically based on the HP infrastructure, with a pretty good warranty on the hardware as well. So those will bring you some alternatives, and I think that's probably a quick run through of the main vendors that we're looking at right now. But I would say it is possibly a time to look at some alternatives if you're getting stuck, certainly on the switching. If you can stick with the access points and you maybe want to stick with Ubiquiti, or you like your other wireless access points that you're buying from TP-Link or whatever, switching is where it's hitting. I would go for something that is centrally managed. There's a good price point. Like I said, Ruji is a good option there to have a look at. We've got other videos coming on that soon, but there is stock. But it's a difficult decision, isn't it, when we want to stick with one vendor, but we're being forced to change direction slightly. I think we may have a hybrid for a while where we end up with 1 or 2 vendors in our network to be able to do everything that we need. I can't see a lot of this changing till a good chunk of the way into 2023, but time will tell. So hopefully that's been useful for you, a very quick overview of most of those vendors. And hey, we love you guys subscribing, and we love giving away stuff. So look, I'm going to give away $100 of Amazon vouchers, or you can take a G4 Instant, or an access point, a U6 in-wall, or an access point like that. We'll work that out at that point in time of winning, but it's really simple. Just need you to be commenting on a video, passing it on to a friend, getting them to subscribe. I could really do with you getting involved and helping us promote our brand, the Tech Geeks, as well. So maybe jumping on Facebook and finding us on there. We are the Tech Geeks, and liking our Facebook page, same as on Instagram and Twitter. So you could find us on there. That would be great. So any of those actions, liking us on Facebook, posting some comments, subscribing to our YouTube channel, we will pick a winner at the end of September, and we will give out some goodies there as well. So hopefully that's been useful. Do subscribe if you're not, and I hope you find some more information that you're looking for on here. But do feel free to reach out to us. The details are below as well, because we love your comments. We love getting involved in the community, and we can often source products that many other suppliers can't.